This is the Xbox Series X. And in this video, I'm going to go over both what I liked and didn't like. And the first thing which I love about the Series X is the design. The light up power button is just big enough that you can see the logo, but not so big that it's obnoxious in any way. All of the other interfaces are pushed to each corner to keep the face of the Series X monolithic and modern. They even keep the sides clear of any large design accents to keep the modern monolithic aesthetic consistent all the way around the system. Now, the most unique and boldest design feature of the Series X would be the top exhaust vent. It's got large, tapered holes with green accents on the bottom to give the illusion of light coming out of the top, which I think we were all hoping were real LEDs, let's be honest. But one big concern I do have about the size of the vent holes is that they are big enough for Legos, pencils, and any small objects to just drop in. And as a parent of 3 young kids, that's very alarming. So please, if you have small children, please keep this up and away from them. But with those green accents, the vent looks great as one of the defining design details of the console, all while serving the noble function of keeping the console cool while cranking out a 4K 60 gaming experience. But as great as the design is on the outside, the UI is a bit disappointing. It's functional and gives you options to customize some things, but the UI just reminds me of the drastic UI shift that Windows introduced with Windows 10, which means it's ultimately just a bunch of squares, some of which are just a single color with an icon in the middle, which just breaks up the list of most recent games I've played. But when you navigate away from the top row and start scrolling through your games, you're bombarded with news, updates, and screen captures that others have shared. The screen captures are kind of cool, but ultimately just get in the way of showing off what could be awesome game art. The other menus are easy enough to get around, but not much is really going on when you go that extra layer beneath the home screen. Ultimately, the UI works, but Sony's UI that they introduced with the PS3 and refined over time is way more appealing to me. The Xbox Series X comes with around 800 gigabytes of usable storage, which seems like a lot from my experience. But for when that storage space eventually gets eaten up by those big AAA titles, Xbox does have one dedicated slot in the back for expanding your storage with Seagate's storage expansion cards. But let's be honest, it is a joy to see a console embracing memory cards like consoles of old. But jokes aside, it's nice to see Xbox making it easy and accessible for people to add more storage to their console, as opposed to opening the device and swapping out SSDs like other next-generation consoles. Over the years, I've grown to really like the Xbox controllers, excluding the Duke, but I'll talk about that one in another video. The controller included with the Series X is still a great iteration of their past success. However, I bought an Xbox Elite controller back when I was playing a lot of Xbox Cloud gaming, and going from the Elite controller to the included controller makes the included one feel cheap. The entire thing is plastic, and aside from the colored ABXY, there are no design accents anywhere on this thing. It's also very light, which may not be a big deal, but I definitely appreciate more weight in my hands while I'm playing. But I get it, it's the included controller, and I wouldn't expect Microsoft to include all the bells and whistles in the default controller. What is great about the controller is that the grips have a very gritty texture around their backs, which surprised me how much I liked them. The included controller does have a dedicated share button, which the Elite controller doesn't have, and the USB Type-C charging port can be used to either charge the Play and Charge kit, or just feed power straight to the controller even without batteries. Ultimately, the controller is a great addition to the Xbox controller lineup. One of the things that surprised me the most about the Xbox Series X was how well the Xbox app integrates with the console. With the app, you can remote play from your Series X to any device that runs the app, and from my testing, it works really well. When starting up, there is a bit of latency and stutters, but that goes away pretty quickly. I definitely see remote play being a solid alternative to playing on the couch, like if you wanted to play from your bedroom or office. Another cool feature of the Xbox app is the ability to voice chat with friends. When I first hooked up the Xbox, I didn't have a headset, but with the app, I was able to start party chat with folks just from my phone. Now, party chat on the app is pretty convenient, but ever since I got a headset, I don't touch it much anymore, so it may only be helpful in a pinch. The last feature I wanted to talk about was how the Xbox phone app lets you queue up game downloads straight from the phone. I found myself just scrolling through the games list, seeing something I like, and queuing it up to play later without having to turn on my console or find it on the Xbox store. This is such a great feature that by itself makes this console feel next gen. I know, there are many other things that make this console a next generation console, but that convenience is just... And now I have to talk about that game list I mentioned earlier, which is essentially the list provided by Xbox Game Pass. Now, I actually subscribed to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate back when Halo Infinite was released so that I could stream Halo Infinite to my MacBook Pro. And if you'd like, you can go check out that video. But the short of it is, it's a great subscription, especially having Game Pass on a proper Xbox console. The library is massive and ever-changing. From Viva Pinata, Banjo-Kazooie, Tunic, to Forza Horizon 5, there's something for everyone in Game Pass. But because the list of games changes over time, you may find yourself in a situation like my wife and I. We downloaded and started playing Myst, only to have it removed from Xbox Game Pass a week later. Our options were to buy the game and continue playing, or leave our save alone and hope that Xbox added Myst back to Game Pass. But ultimately, we just ended up buying it. The game library is just great and has provided tremendous value for me. In fact, I've downloaded 12 games and have so much I can play now, all from only spending $15 in that first month. So if you do pick up an Xbox, or have a Windows PC, or even a decent device that runs Chrome, I recommend subscribing to Xbox Game Pass. To close out the video, I saved the actual performance and gameplay of the console for last. And that's because it performs so well, there's not much to go into. I've only played on my LG 4K 60Hz 55C8 PUA TV, which is a few years old now and doesn't have an HDMI 2.1 port. But the image always looks great, and the console keeps up really well. There has only been one instance of noticeable frame rate drops, and that was while playing Myst on a very specific spot in the mechanical age. I figured this was more of a game optimization issue than the console itself, but it is worth noting that not all games may take advantage of the Xbox Series X hardware. But while playing or navigating around menus, or jumping in and out of games with quick resume, everything is snappy and responsive. And the things that make this most impressive is the console is dead quiet. I have never heard the fan spinning, ever. For gameplay, you have options of either using the controller or using mouse and keyboard, which I personally have been waiting to start practicing for a while now. And I'm super happy to say that mouse and keyboard just work. I was able to plug in my mouse's wireless dongle and my keyboard's USB Type-A right into the Xbox and started twitching around in Halo Infinite immediately. Ultimately, the Xbox Series X is just one touchpoint in Microsoft's grand platform of video entertainment. Between gaming PCs, consoles, and even streaming devices, we have a lot of options of how we play our games. Now, each has their own set of pros and cons, of course, but what stands out about the Xbox Series X is the value proposition. For $500, you get a ton of computing power and access to a great gaming ecosystem, all with the freedom to choose your own peripherals, or stream games, or play remotely, or manage your console from an app. And all of that is what makes the Xbox Series X a real winner. And with that, thank you for watching. I hope you liked the video. If you did, consider liking and subscribing. My name's Maxwell, and I'll see you in the next one.